5 decades after surviving the 1975 assassination of her family, former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has now been sentenced to death. A court in Dhaka has found the leader guilty of crimes against humanity linked to the violent crackdown on protesters during the 2024 July movement.
We have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death. It is hereby ordered that accused Sheikh Hasina be found guilty on 3 counts under charge 1. Count number 1, incitement. Count number 2, order to kill. Count number 3, inaction to prevent the atrocities and failing to take punitive actions against the perpetrators.
And following the announcement, Bangladesh's interim government issued a statement calling the ruling a historic verdict. The statement urged people across the country to remain calm, avoid unrest, respect the rule of law. Sheikh Hasina, who fled to India after massive unrest led to her ouster, was convicted of ordering attacks on demonstrators, failing to protect civilians and ignoring repeated summons. The tribunal said her absence from the trial suggested guilt. According to the International Crimes Tribunal there, Hasina incited violence, issued orders that led to the killing of protesters and allowed the use of excessive force on student-led demonstrations. The court held her responsible for the deadly response to the anti-quota protests. The unrest that escalated after her controversial comment questioning whether quota benefits should go to, quote-unquote, the grandchildren of Razakars. In fact, Sheikh Hasina has rejected the verdict outright, calling it politically motivated. An Awami League statement quoted her as saying the case was driven by personal pursuit of revenge against a democratically elected government. She says she was denied a fair chance to defend herself, claiming that she never received due legal process. She has also questioned the credibility of the tribunal itself, saying that there is nothing international about the International Crimes Tribunal in the country, and that the guilty verdict was, quote-unquote, a foregone conclusion. Sheikh Hasina, who is one of the region's most influential political figures, served multiple terms as Prime Minister and played a central role in shaping modern Bangladesh, but her tenure was also marked by accusations of heavy-handed governance, a shrinking democratic space, and intensive crackdowns on opposition forces. Now, her remarks came during the protest there, and the subsequent violent response eventually ignited that movement that led to her removal from office. This was in August 2024. Hasina has been living in self-imposed exile in India since then, after the student protesters forced her and her Awami League political party out of power. Dhaka has formally asked New Delhi to hand over Sheikh Hasina. In fact, the UNIS government sent the request citing the existing extradition agreements between the two countries. Officials in Dhaka said giving shelter to convicted leaders would be seen as an unfriendly act and a violation of treaty obligations. The verdict against her is now being seen as a potential political opening for Jamaat-e-Islami, a group that was heavily targeted under Sheikh Hasina's rule. And with the former Prime Minister out of the picture and the Awami League weakened, Jamaat-e-Islami appears to be repositioning itself in Bangladesh's politics. Jamaat's origins tracing back to pre-independence of India, but its role during Bangladesh's 1971 liberation war is particularly contentious. The party actively collaborated with the Pakistani military, forming several paramilitary groups which were responsible for heinous crimes against Bengali nationalists and minorities. As Pakistan seeks to re-establish its influence in Bangladesh, the resurgence of Jamaat-e-Islami provides it with the political foothold it needs to stage a comeback. In fact, for more than 15 years under Sheikh Hasina, Jamaat-e-Islami was banned for its radical activities. Its top leaders were executed after being convicted by the International Crimes Tribunal for collaboration with the Pakistan Army during the 1971 war. Hundreds of Jamaat activists were jailed or allegedly killed extrajudicially. But since Hasina's ouster, the situation has shifted. Under the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus, the ban on Jamaat and its student wing was lifted. Jamaat-e-Islami has re-emerged as a significant political force and is rapidly expanding its international outreach. A few months ago, it held meetings, in fact, with diplomats and officials from several countries, including Pakistan. Analysts saying this global engagement is helping Jamaat position itself as a legitimate player on the world stage, marking a major shift in Bangladesh's political dynamics. And with all of these developments coming just months ahead of the elections in Bangladesh, many are now asking a rather troubling question. Has Bangladesh entered a new political era, one where Jamaat holds more influence than ever before? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.